pleased to have you here this morning, and I'm sure you have lots of good information for us, and I see you have something you might want to show us as well.
Yes, I did bring a few pictures, and thank you. It's nice to be here today. So it's a busy place. You know, when the weather warms up, we get all those projects going that are weather dependent, so it certainly has been a busy place. So one of the projects, you know, we've been working on since October has been the building insulation project, and most people see the activity that's on the roof. And we have moved to the last resident building today. So we're not certain the weather will cooperate today, but we will be wrapping that work up within the week, we hope. That's weather dependent.
Which building is the last?
They are, I believe, in Grove Terrace today. It's the last building in Neighborhood 1. So
there's some big thing up there on the roof.
Yes.
I can see from my window, and I'm in Walden Court.
Okay, well, you have a good view then. That's the boom lift that helps get supplies up there for the project that they're doing. There are some folks working in the attic as well, but most people see the roof activity. So, yes, so we are wrapping that up. There's also some other work going on the retaining wall that folks really don't see either. It's in that ravine between the gatehouse and Town Center Parkview area, and it's down below, so we don't see the workmen. It's not disrupting traffic at all, but that is going on. We have completed the crosswalk painting and signage in an area in particular between the first stop sign from the gatehouse and the chapel. Take a look. That's an area that sometimes folks, we identify speeders there. We really want to make sure folks aren't doing that, but there's signage coming from the first stop sign as well as from the chapel that indicate the crosswalks. It's painted with reflective paint, and it also has additional reflectors. So we hope that that will help bring attention to that area and make it a little bit safer.
Is there a speed limit sign there too?
We do have speed limit signs, and we continue to reinforce that it is 15 miles an hour. And while folks say, oh, that's very slow, we have a lot of people moving, so we ask for everybody's assistance, walking and driving. Just proceed with caution. So another thing that's been busy, tree pruning. So we do it on campus twice a year. Certainly in the springtime, as all the fresh growth comes out, it's more noticeable when it's needed. So there is tree pruning going on. It takes many, many weeks, as you can imagine, to accomplish the entire campus. We also have about 11 trees that have to be removed, and we know Green Spring, we love our trees, and so we do get occasional calls from folks saying, oh, they're taking down a tree, and we assure you that we only do it when it is absolutely necessary. And absolutely necessary is because the root system has either crept into the building foundation or into some of our systems like sewage and water lines. So again, I've heard rumors that folks say, well, this particular resident wants it taken down. That's not why we take trees down. They are only being removed because they have caused damage to our systems, and we have to remove them. We are working to replant trees in their place in a better location, and the type of a tree that won't invade our systems. So,
well, if we look back and we're living in our own space in our own homes with trees, we had similar problems, so don't forget that, folks.
Yes, and they can, you know, the wrong kind of tree planted in a particular area can be a problem, but it's only because it's crept into building foundations or underground lines like water and sewer, things like that. So another reminder, you know, I talked about only drive 15 miles per hour. We want to always be courteous. Something else that comes up on occasion, we have handicap parking spaces. You know, we used to have time limited, and because of the the laws, we're not able to time restrict those spaces. They are open to anyone who has appropriate either placard or license plate for handicap parking. But what we ask is that folks are courteous in using them. We have many folks who have handicap placards, but not everybody can park in a handicap space all the time. So if you have need of one, use it for as little time as is needed, and then move your car to either your reserved space or a nearby unreserved space. We occasionally get complaints that somebody's just taking that as their personal space.
I know I see that in public parking areas outside of, supermarkets and things too. People don't have an indication that they're putting their car in the handicap space.
Yeah.
So,
well, thankfully here, the folks who are parking there have a placard or a license plate. We just ask that they not stay in it any longer than they have immediate need, so that it's available for others. Another safety concern, the fire lanes that are in front of each of our clubhouses are just that, fire lanes, which means no parking. Those lanes need to be open for fire EMS. They need to have clearance for our shuttles that round the campus and for drop-off and pickup. So there should be no parking. And parking, I know I hear folks say, well, I'm just going to run right in. It should not be an unattended vehicle. It's if you're stopped there and the driver is with the vehicle and capable of moving it, should that need arise, that is acceptable for a short period of time, but folks should not be parking there and running in, even if it's just for a minute.
That minute sometimes gets a bit longer.
It does, and it's a safety concern.
Of course.
I did bring a couple slides, and one is we're asking residents to help us, help you. And I lost my microphone there. We'll just snap that back on. One of the things we need a little help with is a reminder about bird feeders and bird baths. And as much as we love the nature that we have around us, by having those near your apartments, it draws in rodents and other pests. So we ask for your assistance. There's information in the resident handbook. There you see the slide there that shows the information we're talking about. It is also referenced in the resident handbook that states that we do not allow bird baths, bird feeders, and as we identify them, we'll talk with residents directly, but we ask for everyone's assistance. If you have them and weren't aware of it previously, we ask that you remove those. They are food sources and water sources for many creatures, most of them really unwanted. Well, we do enjoy the birds, but unfortunately, we can't put signs on them that say, for
only
beautiful
for birds
only. And another reminder, it's that time of year as we move transition to seasons. We're entering hurricane season, and while we are blessed that we don't usually get a direct hit up here, we certainly get the residual storms and winds. So it's always a good reminder for preparedness. And we partner with a lot of agencies, all of our local fire EMS. We see them here frequently responding, but we also work with the police department, with the Office of Emergency Management, and it's just a reminder, personal preparedness is really the key to success in any unexpected or expected emergency type situation. So we have information that we have shared previously and will continue to do so. Your personal preparedness you see on the slide that's there, your battery operated radio, first aid kit, some bottled water. Thankfully, most of the times when we have need of these things, it's for something much more mundane, like a power outage or a snowstorm or something that just requires us to be, in one particular place for a short time. But we also, because of the things that go on in the world around us, want to reassure residents that our security team, in their partnering, works with other agencies in preparedness and to be ready for the unexpected. I think sometimes we talk about what if, what happens elsewhere would happen here. And our security team, while they are not armed, they partner with police and fire on a regular basis to make them aware of where things are on our campus and really act as their eyes and ears and escort when they're here. So a lot of work that goes into that to keep us,
I'm sure,
safe.
Yeah.
So some other great things going on. I think many residents have seen and heard about our awning cleaning. So I brought a few before and after pictures, and they're quite striking. Not only have I had great comments there, you see one, the top left there is the before, which is not attractive at all, and the bottom right you see the after, and that is the exact same. It is simply an appropriate and well done cleaning.
That's a transformation.
It is. You know, we screened in putting out a request for proposal, we actually brought vendors in and had them do some sample cleaning to see could they really do what they said they were going to. And this company, we've got a lot of great remarks from residents as well, because they've been quite courteous and efficient in doing their job. And I think there's one more slide, another before and after. We always love those because you get that instant gratification. That one's not quite as dire, but you can still see quite a difference there. So that project is actually wrapping up in the next couple of days, and then we will have ongoing maintenance so that we hopefully never see what those worst cases looked like. You know, we have areas on the campus where they don't get a lot of sun, and so the dampness you know, encourages that crustiness on the awnings.
Is it mold, or is it?
It's kind of a mildew, mold, you know, just like any area that doesn't get sun. Certainly on the back side of the campus, you have those beautiful wooded views, but they don't always get as much sun, so it encourages some of that growth. So another before and after that I brought is the resident laundry rooms. Now they are not all done yet, but you can see in this image on the left is the before, and just the paint and the flooring makes a difference. Now the image on the right, it's not completely done yet. There's still some artwork to go, and they may have some baseboards to finish, but it really gives you an idea of the difference that the refresh makes. So for those folks who use them on a regular basis or even just occasionally, we think they'll find it to be much more appealing.
I experienced that because I rarely use the large washers, but I did in the last few weeks at some point, and I thought, wow, though it's so fresh and clean feeling.
And you know, housekeeping works tirelessly to keep them that way, but it's hard when it looks you know, run down. So they continue to work in the resident laundries. If they haven't got to your neighborhood yet, they will, and that's a pleasure to deliver to the residents. Some other things that are probably not as exciting or to look at, but we did a lot of asphalt work. Now, there are some folks who said they enjoyed watching the process. These may be retired engineer folks. We apologize for the disruption. It's never easy, but it's maintenance that has to occur. And as we have said, you have to move the vehicle so we take care of it underneath. We also have some concrete paving and repair work that will be upcoming. A lot of that is on sidewalks. We also have repair work that has to occur on our resident parking decks. So for those of you that know your lot, first we'll be doing N and P, and then we'll be doing K, L, and M. We're quite a few weeks off yet from the start, but want residents to know we will provide you ample communication. It is going to be disruptive, but we are going to do our very best to make sure that you have alternative parking when it's needed, and we'll work individually with residents. So we are also replacing the stanchions beginning next Tuesday. So those are the posts that are outside the doors where you can put your key in and the door will open. We have a lot of those that are in disrepair, and so those are going to be replaced.
Some people have said they'd like them in more places.
So we are actually doing that as well. We're adding automatic doors this year in Grove Terrace and Maple Creek. We identified all the doors so that we get to all of them, and actually 2 years ago the resident committee for general services did an assessment and prioritized the doors based on which ones are on the shuttle stops and the access to parking areas. So that is our plan. We will eventually have all of them.
I was interested to hear the word stanchions because I grew up on a farm, and that's where cows were put into a stanchion.
Oh, well, I suppose this is one is a little different. I don't know that you could tie a cow to this one.
No, you don't. It would be something they put their head in.
Through. Yes, I know. I was a 4-H'er, so I know exactly what you're talking about.
I never knew that it also could be what those things are next to the doors.
Yes, those posts with a key. And for anyone who maybe, I've heard a couple residents say they have key issues. If you're struggling with the key, you can contact General Services. We'll have somebody take a look at that to see if your key has been bent or if there's a problem with that. So please let us address that if we can.
Well, I had that experience recently also. It was trying to get into my apartment. I thought I had a new key made because I had lost mine. I thought, well, maybe it's the key. And this gentleman from General Services came after hours, really, and because I couldn't get into my apartment. And he sprayed some lubricant in the lock, and he said, your lock is really dirty, and now it works like a charm.
Good. Well, I'm glad he took care of you.
Right.
Good. And, you know, that goes to, for those kinds of things, make sure that it's a call-out. Obviously, we want you to get in your apartment. But we have comment cards available at the front desks, and those are great to pass on observations, compliments, concerns. But if it's something that needs to be addressed right away, it should be a work order. So we ask folks, don't use the comment card to tell us you need a light bulb change. Call General Services or let the front desk know, and they'll pass that on to have a work order created. You know, one other thing, we're expecting the new bus back. It visited the campus when it was first received, and then it was sent out to have some of the custom shelving done in the back. That will really be great when it's used for shopping trips. So look for that bus back. We got lots of great comments from residents because it's a low floor bus. It doesn't need to kneel. And it has a very easy to use ramp. So, and there are no steps in it. It also has a lot of flexible space in the front where we can accommodate wheelchairs and EMVs. So look for that around campus.
All those good things.
All those good things. And window washing will be coming up in September. Gutter cleaning, I believe, has been completed around the campus, so you'll still see a lot of activity out there. But we hope folks are getting out and enjoying the weather and taking the appropriate precautions as well with the warm weather, making sure you stay hydrated and using that sunscreen.
Well, today I walked outside from town center where I live down here, and it was extremely humid.
Very humid today, yes. Folks will want to be cautious if you know, they have compromised breathing or anything like that. But just, you know, with every season there comes a set of tips to make sure we stay safe and healthy. So, you know, I think I've gone through a whole lot. I think that's what's going on in and around campus. Look for information certainly on the bulletin boards for projects, as well as the scroll on Channel 6 when we have something urgent we need to communicate.
Well, I'm sure that you're somewhat involved in the new repositioning and refurbishing of certain areas and the Garden Ridge building, all those things as well. General Services, I'm sure, has a role in that at some point.
At some point, certainly we are involved in the high-level initial discussions and how it will impact our ongoing work and how we will maintain those spaces once they're completed. So we are involved a little bit and on the periphery, you know, to make sure that it's a smooth transition. So we eagerly await what that will bring us as well, both during the building as well as once it's completed.
How many people actually are work specifically in the General Services Department?
I believe our numbers around 250 between all of the departments. We have some of the larger areas with housekeeping and maintenance and engineering and grounds and security and transportation, so quite a few folks.
Well, as a resident, I really appreciate what General Services does and keeps doing, and how efficient they are, really. And you know, I've had things that I needed done and I didn't have to wait that long for the help, and so I think you're doing a great job.
Well, thank you. I'm pleased to be a part of the team, and it really is a team effort, not only with all of the folks in General Services, but we partner with residents and with other departments as well. So we thank you. I'll certainly pass those comments along. The team works very hard to make this a great place to live and work.
It is, and it's a great place to live and just live.
I'm glad to hear that.
Well, I think we're about at the end of our time, although if you have something more you'd like to add, we can do that.
I think I've shared plenty for today. Thank you.
And we appreciate that information, and I hope folks are listening and keep it in mind when they have a question about any of those things. I know General Services will always, if you call, they'll always direct you to somebody who can help or answer your question. So thank you so much, Lynn, and